And with the notes of the band Trag leading us in, it's Nutmeg Sports from Monday here on the HAN Network. Good afternoon, everyone. I'm Rob Adams. Donald Eng alongside me as we get ready for this full week, our last regular season week before we get to the playoffs and championships next week. And we open the show with a guest. Al Carbone, commissioner of the SEC, has joined us, Don. So busy show today. Mike Scott, head baseball coach at Darien, will join us in a little bit on the phone.
Athletes of the week.
And athletes of the week. So we got a big one today.
It's, it's jam-packed. We should get started. Go right into it. Welcome.
Dive right into Al. How are you, Al?
Always happy to be here, guys.
Yeah, long time no speak. How's everything?
Great, busy. It's just like the rain has stopped.
That's great.
Right? The sun is out. Teams are playing games.
The sun is shining. The tank's clean. There's no snakes in the studio this time.
There's no snakes. Last time I was here, we had like animals here. Rob was a little shaken up by it, but
Slightly.
we regrouped.
He actually kind of still is.
It's a long way back for me. How did you guys handle all the weather trouble? Because that's just chaos.
Well, I think baseball and softball were the sports that most affected in track, but everything has been, because we were allowed to play Saturday, Sundays, some teams got creative and were able to play. There's still teams probably with like 5 or 6 games. I know Shelton has about 5 games to play in the next 7 days, and they're still in the hunt baseball for our baseball tournament. So they have some work to do. Scotty Gura, the coach there, is he's getting pumped up. They played Trumbull yesterday in a non-league game, which was postponed from back in April with that SEC FCAC challenge,
right?
Which went very well. We're at 8-8 right now.
Love that.
With Greenwich Xavier being the final game there.
And these games are, yeah, you confirmed something for me, because I saw this morning and I kind of freaked out here in the studio. We were off the air at that moment, and AJ Simonowski heard me, and I said, "What the heck is this? Greenwich and Xavier are playing." Now the FCAC playoffs begin Friday, but they're going to play this regular season game on Saturday, and you helped confirm that for me. That is a real game coming up this weekend.
Well, one, I'm glad you didn't freak out on camera, so that's
the first
audience.
That's the first cake.
Yeah, but you got to realize is that you can play regular season games up to next, I think it's Wednesday or Thursday, so you can get those games. And with the FCAC putting their tournament a little bit earlier, so they want to finish that Wednesday. Teams have to do that. It's one of the things that you have to do. In our league, we try to get all the regular season games before the tournament starts, but we also go Tuesday, Thursday, Saturday with the championship game. It's just one of the things you have to deal with in the spring.
Now, where's your championship game? Where do you play baseball's championship?
Quarterfinal, we have an 8-team tournament for both baseball and softball. Baseball and softball will both play their semifinals and championship at West Haven High School at Purick Field, and then with the West Haven Biondi Field.
Yep.
It's a great complex. In fact, with the SEC, we try to do everything we can at West Haven High School because it's centrally located, and with their lacrosse field and softball and baseball fields all in one location. Next Thursday night will be a busy one because we will have softball semifinals, baseball semifinals, and boys and girls lacrosse championship games. All at once.
You couldn't schedule anything for the ice rink while you were
I
there?
would if I could, but I think Chris Everone, who runs that facility, would be busy enough. So it's a great night. It's a busy night, but it's a great night.
That is a great night. Now, on the other hand, I would love to see, because I know we've got the same issue here in the FCAC. They're going to play, we have all kinds of conflicts and we can't get to everything. Would love to see that concept where we could be able to do baseball and softball. And of course, you can't do them both on the same field. It's not possible,
Right.
But you'd like to see them at staggered times. Is that something that ever goes through your mind to see maybe we can stagger this in a different way so everybody can get around to everything?
Yes. Doing the doubleheaders is important just because of, like logistical, and sometimes you have, the same school with maybe boys and girls across. So you try to do that. The one challenge you have in the spring are school events, proms, awards nights, even graduations for some of our Catholic schools, which happen on Memorial Day weekend.
That's right.
Coincidentally, so you're always challenged that way. But yeah, when you have a great facility, well, we're lucky with West Haven, with one facility in that, all in the same vicinity. But again, you also want to get people to the games too, because and that's the one thing I think. And also another problem in the spring is that you're fighting a lot of different things, in addition to school events. Who's playing outside events, who's at this, who's at that. And even, like on the weekends, state tournament starts for lacrosse, like when we have our baseball, softball championship too. So, there's no time to waste.
Now, I was going to ask you actually something that's been on my mind for a couple of weeks now. We'd been talking. Rob and I were talking a couple of weeks ago regarding you had mentioned Xavier. You had mentioned the Catholic schools with their graduation. Now you're a conference commissioner. I understand that you have valued members that are in the Catholic schools. What do you say to people that say hey, do these schools belong playing again in conferences against other CIAC public schools?
I would say this is that we're a school and we're very diverse. So we have the Catholic schools, we have suburban schools, we have urban schools. The diversity, we embrace that. I was just actually at a meeting, a league commissioners meeting up at the CIAC, and they were talking about some of their playoffs where they're going to start entertaining, I guess use the word, a power division for basketball.
Oh, interesting.
Having a Catholic-only league is never going to happen.
There are not enough schools, I would think.
No, actually, it's not even that there's not enough schools.
Well, it's been tried also.
The problem that everyone complains about in this state is the disparity between big and small, schools of choice versus non-school choice. In the Catholic school league, if there was ever one, the disparity between
Fairfield Prep and
St. Xavier and St. Bernard's
Immaculate
is bad, and it would defeat the purpose of doing one. So I think how it is fine now. I think the problem that is facing the state now are the schools of choice that push up the schools that are like Class M or Class S up into M or L. Then you're talking about this discrepancy, because you can see it, especially in the SEC and the FCAC. The majority of the schools are larger M's, L's, and double L's. We're larger schools. You go around the state, it's decidedly different.
Oh, sure, and as I've always said, you have these Class S and double L's for a reason, and of course, ironically, the largest disparity in enrollments is in Class double L. You have some schools with 650 boys or girls, and some schools with 1,400, and so that's a fairly large disparity even within Class double L. I am intrigued by the idea of this power conference that you mentioned. What would that be, an opt-in, or how would that work?
Well, I think what
obviously it hasn't happened yet.
They're looking at it from the point of having like the top 16 teams. I think they would have to figure out by who they are, and then have their own tournament, so to speak, maybe a double elimination tournament because it's just 16 teams. I'm all for it because I think would be exciting, and I think it doesn't take away from the other divisions because, again, it doesn't take away from it now. Right. No one ever says to you, hey, I'm a state champion. I'm a state champion, whether you're Class S, M, L, And I think what happens is you see such a discussion, and we'll use boys basketball with Sacred Heart of Waterbury, who chose to stay at Class M,
right, and
didn't want to move up to L or double L and play those teams, for a state title. So who is the best team in the state? And I think that's a good thing on the CIAC's part to start looking at that. Mm-hmm. Some sports, I guess, baseball was one of them, softball, even football, want to see the data, and they're going to give the data and that stuff. So that's good.
I think it's a great idea, and it brings me back around, although it's a separate topic, the idea of kind of the out-of-conference games that we have often talked about. Certain conferences want everyone to play everyone, but I love seeing some of these rare matchups that you don't get to see. I love that Darien in baseball, for instance, plays NFA every year. These Long Island games, string good one with St. Anthony's and Darien just a week or so ago. I love seeing that, and would love to see more of that. That's why I love the FCAC SEC challenge.
Yeah, and I think that was the one thing. If people always say about Al Carbone, what's he known for? Is that I want to be known for that, getting those, because the FCAC SEC compare themselves. I know the SWC is interested in doing something in football. The NFA over in the eastern part of the state wants to go play. Yeah. It's funny because NFA playing Darien, to me, that's pretty cool. Take a 2-hour bus ride. Who cares that it took 2 hours? I get to play a baseball game against one of the best teams in the state on a turf field on a Saturday. There's no school the next day. You might not do that on a Tuesday afternoon, but again, playing those games does it. And I know that in today's world, and with the kids who play these travel teams and the youth and all that, they're playing they know everyone around the state. They've played each other in the off season. So if you get to play it for your town and your high school, that's great. And I think that we have to keep encouraging that, and especially in our sports. And we've realigned our kind of divisional structure, and so we're allowing more schools to go outside to play. It used to be 2 games, now it's 4 games outside the league. And go play those outside teams. I want Shelton to play Trumbull.
Yeah.
They're right 5 minutes away from each other. I want Daniel Hand to go down and play Darien or New Canaan in other sports. And that's important. You saw it earlier in the year with with the SEC FCX Challenge in baseball. You want Amity to play Staples. You want New Canaan to go play Sheehan. You want those games, and even the games that really meant sense, Danbury and West Haven, like type of programs, or Hamden playing Fairfield Ludlow, and Hamden's had a great year. Those are important games, and it's great to measure yourself before tournament time. Hey, we played these teams, as opposed to going through your league not really knowing whether you have that capability to win a state championship.
It's toughest, obviously, in football. I think that's because you're dealing with so few games. That's the one problem.
Yeah, but I think football is the easiest one to do because everyone's playing the same days.
Yeah.
And you just say, okay, we're going to block off 8 games or 1 week in the schedule, and we're going to play those games. And that's what it's hardest to get it negotiated. But I will say that, in the next year, in 2017, there's going to be more leagues saying, hey, if we can see, because everyone wants a competitive game. And the problem is, and we'll say it from the SEC standpoint, but we'll use Shelton as an example. Shelton, 12-0, regular season, top 5 in the state. Is Shelton playing? We'll just use an example. Jonathan Law,
right?
A good game for everyone involved? Probably not. So if you could take that game off and maybe get Shelton to play another team from another league, maybe it's a Newtown or someone like that. That's a double L team. That would be a great matchup, and people would be interested in. Isn't that good for kids? Yeah.
Right. And of course, Shelton also has the double problem though, because they have that long-standing Thanksgiving rivalry that's also out of conference. So that's another. Shelton kind of gets hurt at both ends because they have the long-standing tradition. It's not really hurt, but their scheduling is a bit more challenging.
I love Shelton, and not to become public enemy number 1 in the town, is that I think the Shelton Derby rivalry has run its course. And not because Shelton has dominated over Derby, and Derby used to be in the SEC, all that stuff. I just think that what happens is that the Thanksgiving Day rivalry, being on Thanksgiving, is that we don't market it enough as an event because we have so many sports. So when you pick your rival, and wouldn't you want to do it like they do in college, where it's homecoming weekend and every team is playing that other school? Like, Darien is playing New Canaan on Columbus Day weekend, and all the kids are back from college that weekend, and you could play 6 or 7 games and increase revenue and get people excited about it, as opposed to, it's raining and it's 20 degrees on Thanksgiving. Why should I get up and go?
And we got to drive 3 hours to Grandma's house afterwards.
Right, and so again, not that it's run its course, but I also said too is that we have to be ready for, with all the attention that football gets with the health, concussions, number of games, we have to be ready for that 10 regular season games going down to 9 or going down to 8. Okay, then what happens to Thanksgiving? We still want to go to state playoffs, and we still want to win a state championship, but what are we going to have to give up for that? And I'm just saying that from a perspective looking ahead. I don't want to be negative Nelly here and say get rid of Thanksgiving Day rivalries, but at some point you're going to have to give something. Yeah. But again, everyone in Shelton's probably throwing darts at my head anyway.
Oh, here they come.
I mean, obviously we can't get to everything with the SEC, and we always love having you on, but I know you make it to a lot of games. What kind of stuck out at you throughout the conference this year? I mean, I'm looking at the softball schedules, and I'm seeing how great Cheshire has been, and Amity, and Foreign, and East Haven, and Laurelton Hall. But what has jumped out at you this season?
I would say in the spring season, baseball has been very competitive. You have Amity. Hamden's had a great year. In softball, you have a bunch of teams. Cheshire lost a bunch of people to graduation, and they're undefeated, which is hard enough, especially on a day-to-day basis. East Haven won the state championship last year. It's good. Look, girls and boys lacrosse have gotten better. Still not at that FCAC level, top to bottom, but getting better, and you're seeing programs develop, which is nice for the playoffs. But again, I think also you look at the tracks, you look at the tennises, all the sports that you offer, boys volleyball. I just saw a lot of competitiveness, and I think that's a good thing when you go to a league tournament that anyone has a chance to win.
No, you'd mentioned that a lot of these sports going on, like the track and field, the tennis. There's a lot more sports going on that they fly a little bit under the radar sometimes, which is unfortunate. But the spring season is just jam packed. It's just every day there's something fun.
Well, you just hope that. Well, the thing with the spring is you hope that in April that there's no snow. So we were lucky. They were able to start on time, and then you hope that there's no rain extended. You had that little 5, 6, 7 day span. And then, once it ends, there's a drop dead date. And that's the one thing I always say is that league tournaments are always the thing that are most at risk. Because if you can't finish your regular season games, you're not playing a league tournament because you have to go to the state tournament. And, that's always the drawback to it. But you also hope that you get the best teams ready and prepare them. We look at Amity last year in baseball. They went 12-8 in the regular season. They were a 7 seed in the tournament, and they win it all and then go on to win 5 straight games and win a state championship. So you hope that it's just a progression. Just
never enough time to stand here and talk with you. Can we have you back for a full half hour?
Of course.
Deal. We'll get you back on again. Al, great to see you. Thanks for a couple of minutes.
Great. Thank you, guys.
We're going to take a break here. Again, a crazy-filled edition of Nutmeg Sports Baseball coming up later on. We still have Athletes of the Week and Mike Scott, the head coach from Darien, as we continue right here on the HAN Network.
Had a sports injury or a slip and fall that needs immediate care? Coastal Ortho Express Urgent Care gives you direct access to an orthopedic specialist fast without an appointment. Biking, golf, tennis, soccer, whatever the sports injury is, sprain or fracture, Coastal Ortho Express can help. Coastal Ortho Express Urgent Care open Monday through Saturday in the iPark building at 761 Main Avenue in Norwalk, or go to coastalorthoexpress.com. That's coastalorthoexpress.com. Like them on Facebook.
Do you need help reaching or maintaining your fitness goals? For over 20 years, Mike Pernice has tailored his time and expertise to clients on both coasts whose schedules demand flexibility and accountability. Mike is a certified lifestyle manager and has been called upon to help his clients eliminate negative behaviors such as coping with stress, improving their time management, setting realistic life goals, and cutting down compulsive behavior. If you're ready to start working toward a more energetic, productive, and healthier you, call Mike Pernice.
It's time to come back to hometown banking, where people are taken into account, not just balances, where community comes first, a place where there's more than one kind of interest, where automation will never replace consideration, where they not only know your name, they know your dog's name too. It's time to expect more. It's time to bank well. Bank smart. Bank local. Bank well.
For more than 50 years, Triple S has been Fairfield County's expert service for carpet, upholstery, and drapery cleaning. We provide the best in repairs and in-depth restoration, understanding fabrics and how to properly clean and restore them. Our staff will come to your home to clean your wall-to-wall carpet to perfection. We can also pick up your fine carpets and bring them to our facilities. With locations in Norwalk, Stamford, and Stratford, Triple S will get the job done fast, big or small. At Triple S, you can count on our people as well as our cleaning. Find us at triplesclean.com or 203-847-8000. I'm Kate Chaplinsky. Join us for Coffee Break, weekdays at 11 to get the latest Connecticut news, weather, high school sports, and more. News doesn't get any more local than on Coffee Break on the HAN Network.
Back with you on Nutmeg Sports here on a Monday on the HAN Network. We're looking sunny outside right now. Temperatures not great, but I think as a baseball team you're okay with these kinds of temperatures. You like it a little warmer, but these are okay today.
Hey, as long as the sun's out and the fields are dry, they'll take it at this point, I think.
I think so. We got to get to Athletes of the Week. We will do that in our final segment of the program. We've got the winners, we've got the nominees for this week. But right now, special guest coming on the show as well, friend of the program, guy we haven't talked to this year on the show, and that is Mike Scott, the head baseball coach over at Darien. Coach, how are you?
Good, how are you? Thanks for having me on.
Anytime. Good to hear your voice. How's the season going? You guys have been playing some good baseball.
Yeah, well, I mean, no complaints up to this point. You know, we're doing the old one game at a time sort of thing. You know, and the boys have been stepping up and playing well. I mean, you know, we've been playing very good defense, getting solid pitching, and have had just enough offense to pull out some ball games. You know, so we just hope to keep the momentum going this last week of the season and into the postseason.
Now, I've got your record on the FCAC at 16-2, 12-2 in the conference. What has gone right? What has gone wrong? Tell me about the losses, for instance.
Well, you know, the losses, I think they're typical high school losses. You know, I think a lot of times in high school baseball, it comes down to which team beats itself. And in those two losses, you can certainly look to a couple plays, you know, that certainly swayed the momentum in the other team's direction. So the Danbury game, you know, we had a 3-run lead on them. You know, we started off I think it was the 4th inning, you know, with 2 errors back to back, which you know, opened the floodgates. They tied it up, you know, 3-3, and then, you know, pulled it out with you know, with kind of really a clutch hit off the bat of Eric Cerno, who's a tremendous hitter. But we thought we had him struck out, on a 2-2 pitch and didn't get the call, and the next thing you know, he's doubling down the line to score 2 runs and put the game away. So there's that game, and the Ward game. It's just just didn't bounce our way that day. Ward hit a couple home runs. He had 3 home runs on the day. Which proved to be the difference. So it's the FCAC, and in this league, anything's possible. Anything can happen on any day. We're going to have a tough game today against Greenwich. Looking forward to kind of an FCAC playoff sort of environment, and we just got to go out and play our game, and that's really it. So really, as long as we keep getting good outings on the mound and keep playing good defense, we're giving ourselves a chance to win a lot of ball games.
Eric Gendron, who you talked to off the air, he and I had the call of that Danbury-Darien game that day up at Danbury, and I remember the two of us saying that sometimes a loss in the middle of a perfect season can be a good thing to wake a team up. Do you see that? Do you see where that might have even been a good thing for your team?
Well, yeah, you never want to consider a loss a good thing, but at the same time, it just proved to our guys that we're not invincible, and not that we felt that way going in, but at the same time, it's if we're sitting here as a coaching staff, preaching, hey, we got to play good defense, got to get good pitching, and our defense failed us that day. It just proves to the guys that hey, we got to play every pitch, as an important pitch, and I think you look at that play, you were at the game. There was a play down the first baseline, the second play of that 4th inning, that should have been a routine out. Pick up the ball, tag the runner at first, and I think our first baseman just took his eye off the runner a little too early, and missed the tag. And next thing you know, they're scoring 3 runs that inning. So, I think looking back on it, yeah, it probably was a good thing. But at the time, our guys were a little ticked off that they didn't play as well as they possibly could have.
Coach Don here. One of the things I was noticing is that with the compressed schedule, as a result of all these rainouts, I think one of the things that's going to show is which teams have depth. And I'm looking at your schedule. You played 4 games in 4 days the other day: West Hill, St. Joe's, Trinity Catholic, Bridgeport Central. The last 3 games played in 3 days. You had 2 shutouts in 1 game where you only allowed 1 run. Tell me about your pitching staff, because it seems like that really is going to be a major strength of yours going into the FCAC and the state playoffs.
Well, yeah, no, I think the pitching staff's definitely been the surprise of the season. I think that was our big question mark coming in, was how well our pitching was going to hold up, and they've certainly exceeded our expectations up to this point. Last week, we got a good outing from Andrew Lynch, on Monday against West Hill, and Justin Jordan coming in, late in the game, and giving up a 2-run homer to Fairfield's 3-hitter, Lasignia, I think that's how you pronounce his name, was a tremendous hitter. All of a sudden we've lost one of our best guys in the bullpen for the rest of the week. But then, the next day with Richard Barrington coming out, throwing a complete game against St. Joe's, and then, Wednesday against Trinity, Jake Getty's given us, a couple good innings, and then, piecing it together from there. And then, Bridgeport Central, unfortunately they're a little bit down this year, but, we got 6 strong innings from Nick Walter, who hadn't seen much time this year due to an injury. And he came through, gave us 6 innings, and was able to keep most of our bullpen intact as well. So we survived that that storm in pretty good shape.
Coach, we look at the FCAC obviously every day, and Eric and AJ, myself, Don, we're always talking about it. And the one thing we seem to cycle back to is how wild FCAC baseball has been this year. I don't know if I've seen a season like this. It seems like everybody's beating each other up. What have you kind of been able to observe this year?
Yeah, I think it's the same thing. It's funny because I think we kind of see the same thing every year. I think the difference with this year being is that instead of maybe 10 teams or maybe 12 teams in the in the thick of the race, this year there might have been 14 or 15 teams in the race. And that's been different. Where every game you're showing up and there's another team on the field that's capable of beating you, and it makes every game exciting. It makes every game important. There's a lot of solid baseball being played. We've seen some good teams, and we've seen some really good pitchers. Some guys make some teams make some great plays on us in the field. And some teams that can swing the bat. So I think with this league, like you said, anybody can beat anybody. We beat each other up during the year. And then when we get to the postseason, hopefully we can start taking it to some of these other conferences. And
we haven't even touched on today's game. You've got a heck of a game today against the Greenwich Cardinals.
Yep. I'm sorry, say that again?
I was asking about today's game, Mike, against the Greenwich Cardinals. That's a heck of a game.
Yeah, it's going to be a great environment. It's a kind of a preview as to what we can expect later on this week in the first round FCX, and if we're lucky enough to advance, looking into next week, it's going to be that playoff type atmosphere, and we're excited to get on the field to compete, and I'm sure they're going to be the same way.
Well, you guys have been fun to watch all season from what we've been able to watch, and you're always fun to talk to. We'll have you on again, and good luck today, and good luck as we get into the playoffs. Thanks for your time, Mike.
All right. Thank you. No problem. Have a good day.
All right, you too. That's Mike Scott, head baseball coach over at Darien. And again, gotten to know Mike a little bit. Good guy, good and a terrific coach. Heck of a baseball mind there. So really enjoy talking with him, Don.
Yeah, and it looks like, as I was mentioning, I mean, it looks like Darien is geared up for a deep run into the FCIAC and the state playoffs. You know, solid depth in the pitching staff, and the bats have really come alive in the last couple of weeks. So
I wondered what kind of team that would be this year. I knew they had losses to graduation last year, and obviously we talked to everybody during the FCIAC tour. But this team's got a little something going on. Now, I'm not going to anoint anybody a champion because there's just too much to be said. And this week will really be fascinating to watch. It really will be. As I'm looking at the playoff race right now, there are still 4 teams that could have a legitimate shot of jumping into the FCIAC playoffs. But the top 3 are set.
Yes,
that's it. Beyond that, it's wide open.
Yeah, the top 3, probably even 4, with Norwalk at 10-4. They're set. You know, in which order is another question, but they look to be definitely in. But then starting with Ward, you have Ridgefield, St. Joe's, and Staples all 8-6, and then Ludlow, Danbury, Wilton 7-7, and even Stamford at 6-8. Not out of it by any stretch.
More stuff, and stuff that we can get into during tonight's baseball game as well, and Don and I will talk more about it tomorrow and certainly as we go into Wednesday in part, and we'll go to break right after this, just to let you know, because we're still planning to bring you a baseball game on Friday, a quarterfinal FCIAC baseball game on Friday. We need to know where to go, and these playoff seedings are not set yet, with the exception of Darien, Greenwich, and Trumbull all having locked up a playoff spot, but not necessarily having locked up a home playoff game. That's another factor as well. So, a lot to think about. We'll take a break. We'll come back. Athletes of the Week right after this on Nutmeg Sports on the HAN Network.
Alberto Londano Professional Painting, Wallpapering, and Carpentry has been serving Fairfield County for over 20 years. Based in Norwalk, Alberto takes pride in his work by offering you only the best quality service and products. Call Alberto today to get a free estimate and be one step closer to a new and exciting home makeover. 203-866-9635.
For over 25 years, Mike Cizik Painting and Wallpapering has been the name to know for residential and commercial properties in Fairfield County. He uses only the top brands, including Benjamin Moore, for impeccable preparation and lasting quality. Call Mike now and receive $500 off any job over $7,000. Mike is currently accepting reservations for spring, so call him today at 203-770-8869 or 203-972-3310. For your custom painting, finishing, and staining needs, it's Mike Cizik.
I think what makes ONS special is that it has everything that makes academic medicine great. We have the fellowship-trained specialists, but we still bring the style and type of medicine that's indicative of a community practice.
We are all trained in our area of interest and expertise, so our patients see a doctor who specializes in their particular injury.
I did have 2 consults with major New York City hospitals, but I just felt that the care was best here. I was treated like a rock star. The surgery exceeded any expectations that I had.
I'm Denise DiGregoli, the host of The Drive on the HAN Network. Join me Tuesdays for some motivational, intelligent talk with a little humor as we visit with people who live their lives mindfully. Tune in to The Drive live on Tuesdays, 12:30, here on the HAN Network.
Back with you on Nutmeg Sports for this edition of the program. Again, we have baseball coming up now. That's not until 6 o'clock tonight as the Norwalk Bears take on the Fairfield Ward Mustangs, 2 teams that are looking to lock up their playoff seeding. We'll see if they can get a little closer to that later tonight, 6 o'clock right here on the HAN Network. So looking forward to that. We'll be at and it's at Nathan Hale Middle School, just so you know, in case you have not been to a game. It's at Nathan Hale Middle School, that great new turf field that they have. If turf fields are your thing, we will be there later on. But we'll be up in the school. up inside the school, so you can wave to us.
Wave, say hi, it's bring a pretzel or something.
We almost need theme music for Athlete of the Week, but nonetheless, it is time.
Well, we should get Trag on that right now.
We should get Trag on that. It is time for Athlete of the Week. Don, shall I start with the ladies?
Ladies first.
All right, ladies first. We start with the ladies' side. Sammy Stewart is your winner from New Canaan Lacrosse. She filled the stat sheet as New Canaan handed the Ridgefield Tigers their first loss of the season, 15-11 at Dunning Field. She also had a hat trick and 1 assist in the Rams' 13-12 win at Yorktown Heights, New York. So, Sammy Stewart with 1,162 votes, the winner of your Athlete of the Week on the ladies' side, with Morgan Hickey of Wilton Golf second and Gabby Perry of Staples Softball third.
On the boys' side, Staples baseball player Michael Fanning is your Athlete of the Week with 559 votes, ahead of Thang Dao, a Trumbull track and field athlete, and Staples volleyball player Kenny Brill. Fanning hit a pair of home runs and drove in 5 as the Wreckers beat Norwalk High by a score of 10-2. Staples improves to 7-7 on the season, improved to 7-7 on the season, 6-4 in the FCAC.
We're going to dip into a little bit of overtime on this edition of the show, just so we can get you the Athlete of the Week nominees for this week. Of course, go vote for them at HAN.network. Look for Athletes of the Week. Make sure you get your vote out there. You can vote from now right on through really midnight on Sunday night into next Monday. We'll announce the winners on next Monday's show as we get into playoff mode. But Don, let us start on the boys' side.
We start on the boys' side. Your first nominee, Fairfield volleyball player Noah Adelstein. 14 kills, 15 digs, 3 blocks, and 5 service points. The Mustangs beat Greenwich High 3-2. He then had 12 kills and 4 digs in a 3-1 win over Danbury, and also played well in a loss to Joel Barlow.
Will Andrews of Staples Tennis is up next. Playing from the #1 singles spot, he swept 3 matches in 3 days against teams bound for the FCAC playoffs. Each was a win in straight sets, including beating Nick Condos of Wilton 6-2, 6-2, as Staples won 5-2. Then he defeated Ward's Jack Johnson 6-love, 6-1, and on Wednesday defeating New Canaan's Alex Merjan 6-1, 6-1.
Rich Brereton of Darien pitched a 4-hitter and struck out 7 as the Wave held on to first place in the FCAC with a 7-0 victory over St. Joseph. Brereton pitched 5 scoreless innings before the Blue Wave gave him a 1-0 lead in the 5th, and then went on to score 6 more runs in the 6th to secure the win. Rich Brereton.
Ben Kasparius of Staples Baseball has been among the best in the conference all season. He struck out 10 over 7, the complete game effort. The Wreckers defeated Wilton 2-0. You saw that game right here on the HAN Network. He allowed 3 singles and walked 2, also 3 for 3 with a double at the plate.
Matt Jorsey of Fairfield Ludlow gave the Falcons the lead with a 2-run single in the top of the 8th inning as Ludlow defeated Danbury High 6-4 in the extra frame.
Up next is Michael Gonzalez from Norwalk Baseball. He had 2 hits, drove in a run, scored a run. The Bears knocked off West Hill 7-6.
Next up, Justin Green, Trinity Catholic, scored 5 goals, had 2 assists for the Crusaders in a 13-2 win over Bridgeport Central.
One of the best players in lacrosse in the FCAC this season has been Jack Niffen of Darien. He scored a game-best 5 goals, including the game winner in overtime, as Darien edged Greenwich 13-12 on Saturday.
Connor Langan of Greenwich threw a 4-hitter and struck out 7 Falcons as the Cardinals won their 5th straight road game with a 5-0 win over Fairfield Ludlow. Langan did not allow a runner past first base. The Cardinals improved to 10-4.
Glenn O'Brien of Wilton Baseball is up next. He pitched shutouts in 5 days, topping Brian McMahon 5-0 on Monday and New Canaan 1-0 on Friday. Against McMahon, he allowed only 3 hits, all singles, walked 1, and struck out 3.
All right, that is your nominees for Athletes of the Week on the boys' side. We go now to the girls. Elena Ball of St. Joseph. Softball had 3 hits, including 2 home runs, drove in 6 as the unbeaten in the FCAC. St. Joseph Cadets beat Darien High 14-1. She also had 3 hits and drove in 2 in a 13-1 win over Norwalk.
Next we go to Staples, and it's Annalise Brown of the golf team. She put together a round of 35 at the Longshore Country Club when Staples defeated Ridgefield and Ludlow.
Jillian Kane of New Canaan threw her first career no-hitter as New Canaan topped Bridgeport Central 2-1 Wednesday at Waveney Park. Kane walked 3 and fanned 13 in the game. The lone run she allowed came via ground out in the top of the 7th. She also singled and drove in a run.
One of the running gags around these parts is when someone has that good of a day, the next day we look at each other and go, oh, they just scored again. Chandler Kirby just scored again of Darien Lacrosse. She had 7 goals as the Blue Wave rolled over New Canaan 20-10 last week at Darien High School. A hat trick in the first half, 4 goals in the second half, and the Wave outscored the Rams 10-1.
Greenwich golfer Catherine McAvoy, the reigning state individual champion, shot a 1-under par 35 as the Cardinals beat Trumbull 170-194 at Tashawa Knolls. McAvoy's round included an eagle on the par 5 first holes and a pair of birdies. A day later, she shot 37 at the Millbrook Country Club in Greenwich, earning medalist honors by 10 strokes as Greenwich beat New Canaan 186-210.
We're still going through Athlete of the Week nominees, and up next is Nora Noel Nolan of Wilton. The golfer won medalist honors for the second time in the week when she recorded a 33 at Silver Mine as the Warriors defeated Ludlow by 33 shots.
Kara Ramon of West Hill belted a 3-run home run in the top of the 7th as the Vikings rallied for a 6-4 victory over the Blue Wave in Darien on Monday. West Hill trailed 4-1 after 3 innings, but scored the final 5 runs of the game, capped by her shot over the center field fence.
Brittany Romeo of Fairfield Ward Softball is our next nominee. A 2-run homer in the top of the 10th to tie the game, but Fairfield Ludlow scored the 11th to win the 4-3 decision. Romero pitched all 11 frames, allowing 7 hits. She also had 4 hits, including 3 doubles, in a 6-5 win over Norwalk.
Stamford pitcher Sarah Staley pitched 11 innings without allowing an earned run as the Black Knights edged Trumbull 3-2 on Thursday in Stamford. Staley scored the winning run on a single by Kristen Osborne and also scattered 6 hits over the 11 innings. She reached base on a single in the bottom of the 11th before coming around the score.
Reagan Steed of Fairfield Ludlow Lacrosse is up next. She scored 4 goals, had 6 assists. Yes, that's 10 points. The Falcons beat Danbury 16-7.
Ali Zabo of Trumbull struck out 8, gave up 5 hits, and hit a 2-run double as the Eagles beat Wilton High 15-3. She struck out 14 batters as she threw a 2-hitter against Trinity Catholic.
Next up is Olivia Vladis of Fairfield Ludlow Softball. She came on in relief in the 6th inning and struck out the side with the bases loaded in the Falcons' 4-3 win in 11 innings over Fairfield Ward.
And your final nominee is Wilton pitcher Sage Zunda. She won her 8th game of the year as the Warriors qualified for states for the first time since 2011, beating Brian McMahon 26-6. Zunda also had 3 hits in the game, including a grand slam home run, and drove in 6 runs.
So there you have it, your Athlete of the Week nominees for this week, and we look forward to you getting out and doing all the voting you can possibly do. Vote as often as you like. It goes right on through until midnight Sunday into Monday. Don and I will announce the winners next Monday right here on Nutmeg Sports. Love a busy show, just too busy. Lots of guests today, and I'm happy. It was a good show.
It was a very good show. A lot of fun. Al is always a great guest. Mike is great. You know, I love to get insight, a coach's insight. You know, I mean, I've been a fan my whole life, but to hear a little bit of the behind the scenes, how pitching sets up, things like that, always fascinating to hear from one of these baseball coaches.
No, terrific guests all the way around. Terrific show, and you were wonderful as well.
Yeah, you know, you weren't too bad yourself.
I was completely,
it was okay.
Completely tolerable. Thanks to AJ Simonowski. Thanks to Jenny. Thanks to Eric.
They were all good.
Asia's still over there. Yep. She might be as well. We
good
thank
too.
all of them. There she is. I see her back there now. For all of them and Mr. Donald Eng, I'm Rob Adams. Enjoy your day. We're back with baseball 6 o'clock later tonight as the Fairfield Ward Mustangs take on the Norwalk Bears. Girls lacrosse tomorrow. Baseball Wednesday, then the playoffs. For Don, I'm Rob. Enjoy your day. Coffee break tomorrow at 11. Thanks for watching Nutmeg Sports on the HAN Network.